Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. Oh, you can tell the DNC memos have gone out. The shills, trolls, and losers have been active, but so are we. Now, I know this is highly unusual, but I received a message from one of my subs, and this person asked me if I would share their poem with the family. Yes, you heard me right, a poem. But I thought it was rather clever, and it certainly expressed what we all think, so please spare a moment for Professor Truth's poetry reading. The title of the poem, It Matters Who. Joe Biden's election was helped by Americans who are black. He took the job as president and said he'd have our back. To us, that meant he'd work to end our poverty and lack. Instead, he executed policies designed to keep us back. I won't vote for you if you defend Biden's deed, if you pretend to do right by us all while following his lead, if you use us as fodder for your social media views, if we're just the backdrop for your headline news. If the headline says black but the story says minority, if your solution won't specify us or make us the priority, if you lump our black with brown when we have unique pain and plight, or call us BIPOC and people of color to secure other people's rights, descendants of former slaves called freemen, the data shows who we are, and countless stories of today that prove slavery wasn't that far. So I say no to H.R. 40 or any study you might propose to prolong paying the debt to us that the United States government owes. If you're coming for my vote, then I need you to understand my vote is for our reparations. This is the square on which I stand. You must agree to advocate according to our demands and specs, and give your unwavering support for us coming to get our check. Now, who says poetry is dead? Joe Biden showing everyone that pride goeth before a fall, literally. He's going to be remembered as the single most uncoordinated president in human history, at least in the white media. And to the black media, he'll be remembered as a Northern Confederate. And I know some bootlicks, trolls, and shills will predictably pop up in the comments saying that we shouldn't make light of his fall from grace. But those half-wits can save it. It's not my job to respect a self-serving political miser like Biden. It's his job to earn my respect. And up until now, he hasn't done anything but earn my contempt. And the only way that you're going to get the respect of the black grassroots is by showing us what you're going to do for us. He made a number of promises and broke every single one of them. What is there to respect about that? What is there to trust about that? What am I supposed to be looking forward to when that's what he's already done? Because rather than do right by the black electorate, instead the Democrats are playing a game of political chicken. That's their strategy for 2024, telling us that they won't do anything on our behalf and then daring us not to vote for them because the alternative would be worse. Not from where I stand. We've been here before, family. Barack Obama did the exact same thing when he ran for re-election. He promised us nothing on the campaign trail. He did nothing for us his first 4 years in office other than berate us and talk down to us so that he could earn brownie points with those casual racist, read white moderates that he was trying to hang on to the votes of. And then when it came time for re-election, he said, you gotta vote for me because Mitt Romney will be worse. And then after 8 years of nothing, the bastard had the nerve to get on the campaign trail for Hillary and say that black voters got to vote for her in order to secure his legacy. Now, for a number of black people, that was when the light bulb finally came on and it finally at long last dawned on them that they had been in an abusive relationship. Oh, that moment when the scales fall from what had previously been closed eyes. So what Biden's doing is the exact same play being recycled and served up to us again. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not swallowing any political leftovers. And I don't get nervous because someone makes scare talk about Donald Trump or Ron Desantis becoming president. Do I want either one of them to be president? No, but then again, I don't want Biden to be president if he's not going to do anything for me either. When I vote, it's impossible to cast a ballot against someone. You have no choice but to vote for someone. And what have they given us reason to vote for? The white left is concerned because they know that there will most likely be hell to pay if Trump gets reelected. He's a highly vindictive SOB, and for the last few years they've been giving him a lot of reasons to try to come and get even. But nonetheless, the prospect of the orange man having a legitimate gripe and the power to inflict his punishment on his enemies, that's not enough for the white left and these Democrats to do what we've told them to do. And this should come as no surprise. They're not in enough pain. Yet. We're not going to be getting invested in the power games played by the two halves of the administrative arm of white supremacy. All they're doing is what they've always done, arguing over who gets to hold the whip and beat us with it. Fortunately, though, more black people are getting wise to the scam. We cannot and will not follow any rule or organization or law or directive that mandates we have to stay poor. We're not going to be putting anyone's interest before our own. We are going to exercise, as Dr. John Henrik Clarke beautifully put it, the essential selfishness of survival. In other words, we're going to be doing exactly what everybody else does. What we're doing is about a lot more than just next year's election. This is about solidifying a political posture that reverses the buffoonery and the lack of direction and persistence that we've shown for the last 60 years or so. You don't vote because some well-funded white political ad campaign tells you to, or some white media show on cable has convinced you that voting is the right thing to do. Voting is not about right and wrong, it is about power or powerlessness. That's what it should always be about. That is what every political argument, every political ask should be framed as. Power or no power. And what they've shown us is they're not bringing the power, so that being the case, we're going to wait until we have somebody who does. Now, it can make sense at the local level and statewide to be voting because those are races that directly affect you the most, and those are also the races that you can have the most impact on. But we can't let ourselves get carried away. Before we go running to the polls, we need to know what we're voting for. As TBA has so often said, power doesn't respect weakness. Power only respects power. And the first power is personal conviction. That means you need to have convinced yourself. When it comes to what you want, you can't be bashful about it, or come off as self-conscious, or reticent, or give off vibes that you don't think you can get it. Other people will see your hesitance. They will sense that you don't actually think that you can get what it is you're demanding, and they'll reject you out of hand. Insecurity, lack of confidence, is a sure sign of personal weakness. The people who oppose justice will be emboldened to mistreat you further, and the people who are inclined to agree with you will see your poor example, they'll see your weakness, and become discouraged. Conviction is not something that comes to the masses naturally. It begins with one person or a small group of people, and then spreads from there. Most people have never put it on the line for anything. They sit back and hope that someone else is going to change their life for them. But it never happens. I did a video essay some years back about the danger of magical thinking. You engage in that kind of folly and you will waste your entire life waiting for someone else to pull a winning lottery ticket out of a hat and then hand it to you. We will not have come into our own until we get comfortable with directly challenging and opposing those who stand between us and what's ours. The people who pretend that they're on our side, when we start getting in their faces and making it very clear, we ain't here for friendship, we're here for the tangibles, then you will see things change. You're not going to shame the savages into civilized behavior, and you're also not going to make them into your buddies either. You need to be serious about what it is that you want. And what you don't want is friends. We don't need more friends, we got family, so we're good on that front. But now is the time for us to show that we have the persistence, that we are digging in our heels on this one, because that's what the enemy is waiting to see. And if they decide that they're going to pursue this strategy of trying to wait us out, well, what they're going to find is that when they get to the ballot box, Biden won't be the only one who falls flat on his face. Good day. And be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Brian Walton, Rashad Marsh, Harvey Wilmore, Morris Bodden, and Jeremiah. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.